Welcome back to The Grind. In this video, we are going to do some side-by-side comparisons of the SoulDance Mythic dragons, Hunter Calivor and Sorcerer Sepulla. I was only able to do this because PG did give the creators faction members, myself included, the dragons of the season to test out and create content with so that people can get a better idea of what they want to do with the season. Unfortunately, I no longer have access to the dragons until I unlock them myself. So I was a little busier than usual, so I was not able to master the dragons as much as I like to for these videos, but we're going to attack this 8 billion defense base with a range of level 73 to 81 towers, and this base is slightly below what I would expect to call at tier for the dragons at the level they are at. And undefended, we are able to do fairly well on this base. The howitzer does not kill me gratefully, but it does take some time to get through those towers, and the summon in front only has about 1/3 health left. So if there was another island of towers, it would probably kill my summon, and then I would probably die shortly after. And this was undefended, so I would have hoped to have done slightly better with this run. I do hope they end up deciding to buff Sepulla, but until then, this is what we have to deal with. Now, coming at the same base with Calavore, again undefended, you can see how much easier it is to clear the towers. Now, this is what I, again, would say at tier. So it only takes about 4 ammo shots to destroy the towers. And that is about what it would take at max tier against max bases as well, unless you have a defender placing hammers and the HP boost. But I didn't even take any damage. Now, another way to do it, instead of opening with Dirge, is to start with Eulogy and take out a few towers, then freeze and use Dirge on the back towers so that they are destroyed by the time you use your last cloak, and you don't have as much to deal with after the fact. I was able to use that dark flak there as a little bit of an anchor to slow me down to allow me to gain some rage and ammo back, and once again defeated the base without taking any damage at all. Calavore is very rage hungry, so you do want to keep that in mind. He will benefit a lot from rage runes, as well as ammo runes or a rider with ammo. Now we're going to attack the same base again. This time we actually will have the owner defending, and this first run is with Sepulla. You can avoid mage drains by using the free spell, which is very nice, and then gain back the rage by using that mark. You can also place it on monuments, swipe and quickly cast Ashes to Ashes to save 1 rage going into the island. Now with the defender, you can see it's much more challenging to get the buildings down. You do have to frequently freeze, which is a lot of rage, because if you don't freeze to avoid taking damage for a period of time, then the summon will die immediately. But you can see with the heals and the super shots, the summon is not able to survive despite spamming the spells, and once the summon dies, Sepulla dies shortly after. Now with Calivor, he has very good ways of avoiding mage drain as well by cloaking. As long as you can take the towers out or freeze them quickly enough, then you can come into the island full rage again. And I open up this time with Dirge on the front too, and then I use Eulogy and take out those back towers so I don't have to deal with them once I freeze the towers. And then you can see I take only a very little amount of damage. I use that blue mage on the front as an anchor to slow me down to allow me more time to gain rage and ammo, and it wasn't too challenging to clear this base even with the defender present. And farms and mills once again are not much of a difficulty because of the amount of damage increased Eulogy provides, as well as Dirge. Now this base has level 93 towers with 4.5 billion defense, so I would say this is above tier, but again it is a short island. So when we come at it with defenders, with Sepulla, we start with Ashes to Ashes and the freeze spell, and then place the mark to gain back some rage. If I had placed Ashes to Ashes just to the right to hit that flak, then I would have been able to cast it a second time to destroy it before clearing it over the island. So even with the defender, had I placed Ashes to Ashes in a different spot, I actually would have been able to clear that island completely. And you can see the summon barely survives this second part of the damage portion of the island. My swipe attacks are dealing significant amounts of damage to the towers after using Ashes to Ashes and the free spell, because they both increase damage that the towers take. And I was able to defeat the base with the defender, but unfortunately left the 1 tower there. But again, this was a short island with only 5 towers at a time, and I barely survived it. Now coming in with Calivor, again defended, we can see the difference here. Taking out the mage tower right away, I didn't even get a double tower shot. I wasted a lot of ammo. Then I froze the 3 remaining towers, was able to use Eulogy and Cloak to spam down the remaining towers. So even with a lot of mistakes and taking some damage, I was able to clear it quite nicely. And then taking out the red mage, I freeze the remaining towers, Eulogy once again to destroy the several towers there, and then you can clean up the rest of the towers, including the farms and mills, without too much trouble, despite defenders adding the HP bonus and repairs, because Calivor has a lot of great ways to deal damage and take towers out quickly. Now this is going to be another short base with level 95 towers and 8 billion defense. So this is well above tier for these dragons and defended. So I would expect this to be a challenging base to take out. Now with Calivor, I take out the 2 front towers first, use Eulogy to take out the back tower, and you can see how much ammo it's taking to destroy these towers, which really shows you how much above tier this is. But despite that and the defenders, I was still able to take out the kill island without too much difficulty, and it was double defended. Unfortunately on that run I died because I was not aware of the howitzer on the back of the last island. This run I had equipped Death Gaze just in case I needed it. Again, you can see how much ammo it takes. Now I didn't need to use the Death Gaze, but I got fidgety and clicked it and to take out the fire flak while it was frozen. But you can see I was able to defeat all the towers, again double defended, and ended with about the same amount of rage before moving into the next island. You can see I used the perch there as an anchor to gain back a little rage. Then I focus on the shielding tower, clean up the other towers, and save dirge to use on the howitzer at the back before cloaking the shot, and then cleaning up the farms and mills with a lot of ammo and dirge when available. And as much as possible, you want to avoid using ammo unless Eulogy is active, because it is just not nearly as effective otherwise. Now with Sepulla coming into this island, you can just see how much overwhelming damage he takes. Once the freeze ends, the towers destroy me right away. I wasn't even able to freeze a second time, so the summon couldn't even heal back any of the health that I lost. Now this long base has only 5 level 77 towers and some lower level towers behind it. It is less than 3 billion defense, so this is below tier for what I would expect a dragon to easily take out, even with defenders. And with Sepulla, you freeze the towers, use ashes to ashes to decrease the damage that they deal, and you can see how much damage the swipe attacks are doing to those towers, but the summon still almost dies, which means that if this player had built their base poorly and accidentally built like 15 towers that were well below their tier for their level, they probably still would have killed Sepulla, because after that long island, the summon barely had any health left and would not have been able to deal with the remaining towers. With Calavore, I open with Eulogy to take out the red mage and a flak before the shield goes off, and then the shield tower, and then I wasted dirge accidentally, as well as a bunch of ammo, yet I was still able to clear the base with the defenders, stop that mage super shot from hitting me with the freeze, and clear it, and I only lost about 1/3 of my health. The last base we're going to use to compare has mostly level 77 towers and is 5.5 billion defense power. The first run will be with Calivor. I have dirge loaded prior to the turn to gain back that rage. I did miss the red mage in that shot there, but the ammo was significant enough to take out multiple towers, and then I was able to freeze the remaining 2 towers and cloak the damage that they were going to deal, and finish cleaning up the towers with the remainder of Eulogy. And Calavore made that base look very simple and weak. Now the same undefended base with Sepulla, we can see that it appears much more challenging. Sepulla takes a lot of damage from the repeated howitzer shots before it can destroy it, and it is a little bit more difficult to destroy all the towers on that base. And once again, the summon is very close to dead just after dealing with those 2 islands of towers. And then coming around to the farms and mills, he is able to burn through those quite quickly with all the increased damage. But if there was another island of damage dealing towers, I don't think we would have survived. Now this last base is just for fun with level 94 towers and over 9.5 billion defense, and we're gonna run it undefended with Calivor, but I would say that this base is 2 to 3 tiers above the level of my Calivor. Now we open up with Dirge to take out the 2 towers, then Eulogy to take out the Red Mage and the 3 towers on the front of Island 4, freeze the remaining 2 towers, the Fireflag and the Blue Mage, take them out with Eulogy, and then take out that Red Mage and freeze the Fireflag before it deals any damage to me, and I am able to clear this whole island of 10 towers without taking any damage at all. But Calivor did take a lot of time and practice to get used to. Also, I have a lot of time invested in Hunters as a whole, which has made learning Calivor easier than it would be for somebody who hasn't played Hunters for very long. So as a direct comparison, the obvious answer is Calivor is by far superior to Sepulla. However, Calivor is a very high skill requiring dragon. Also, I would hold off on making your final decisions for at least another month to see if they decide on any changes to Sepulla that might make Sepulla more viable, because in my opinion, Sepulla is useless pretty much and not even as good as the legendary dragons from this season, or at least Lazak the warrior. But hopefully they reconsider Sepulla and make a couple changes that might help Sepulla out. The one major advantage to Sepulla is the summon, and with the auto battle feature being released to everyone soon, Sepulla might be a very good dragon for auto flying invader base and PvE bases in some of the PvP events that have a lot of the PvE bases to run. It would be a very easy dragon to let run the bases and clear it without you having to pay attention, but because those bases are so weak, pretty much any dragon should be able to do it. So Calivor is definitely the better of the two and is a very strong dragon, but for those who don't like Hunters or haven't gotten the hang of Hunters or don't have the time to learn and practice a dragon that requires as much skill, then unfortunately there really is no good mythic option for this season, because Sepulla just doesn't add much, in my opinion, to anyone's roster at this point. So I really hope they do add some buffs to make her a little bit more viable, and if I hear anything about it, about the details of this or a timetable, I will definitely let you all know in another video. So I hope this video was helpful, and I will see you in the next video.